Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host Davion. I'm joined by Lillian,
What's up?
and today we are trying to record this Lions video one more time. We are going to talk about the Detroit Lions and the outstanding season they've had so far, being 8-3. So Lillian, you as our residential Lions fan, tell me about your team. Like, what are you happy? Are you sad? What are you seeing right now?
Well, here I've got my thoughts a little more collected now that this is the second run through. So here's what I'm sad about: the pass defense. I'm very sad about that. The secondary has a couple injuries, but it's still been terrible, like straight up. Part of that's because pass rush isn't getting home. Aiden Hutchinson's the only guy that can do it. He gets double triple team nonstop. Still leads the league in pressures, but it's hard to get home when you're the only guy getting close. Um, Something I'm happy about: run defense. It's been phenomenal. It's top five in the NFL. Starts with Aleem McNeil and Alex Anzalone. Uh, Something I'm sad about is Goff's recent turnover problems. He had a couple fumbles in the first quarter against the Packers. Had three picks against the Bears. Just been a rough couple games for him. I expect him to get back on track. Something I am happy about: two-headed monster in the backfield between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has had a couple breakout games since the Ravens game. It was Ravens and the Raiders where he just went off, and then Montgomery comes back after the bye week against the Chargers, and they both go for I think over 100 total yards. Uh, so that's been amazing. Something else I'm happy about: Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, it's top 10 receiver in the league. He's been absolutely phenomenal for us. Was a key part in the game-winning drive against the Bears a couple weeks ago. Uh, and Jameson Williams, his snap count has gone up every year. Not every year, sorry, every week. And he is one of the best blocking wide receivers I think I've seen in a while. He gets downfield on his blocks too. He's he, David Montgomery against the Chargers had 75-yard rushing touchdown, and Jameson Williams took out two guys with one block, about 50, 60 yards downfield. So that was key to getting him the touchdown. And also had a key touchdown in the comeback against the Bears. So, I mean, it's just been a beautiful. It's been beautiful to see how he hasn't just sort of hung his head and pouted because he wasn't necessarily the number one option on the offense. And then something else I'm extremely happy about is the offensive line. Um, Obviously, it's a top two offensive line in the NFL. The Eagles are the only one that's better for some obvious reasons. But
Yeah.
I mean, you take Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson and Dickerson and Mailata and Sam. I can't ever say his name, and I apologize. But their right guard is also extremely good. But the Lions' offensive line's elite. I mean, Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson when he's healthy, which he is healthy this week and is expected to play. It's a beautiful thing to watch the offense work. So yeah, that's that's what I'm happy and sad about.
Yeah. So this is our second time doing this. So I'm gonna try to switch the questions up a little bit. So when you look at the Lions and you look at they are 8-3, they're sitting third in the NFC. Um, with their projected first round game right now being I think it's the Seattle's. No, actually it's the Dallas Cowboys. So right now you will play the Dallas Cowboys. How do you feel about that?
I will definitely know how I feel about that after on New Year's Eve. I think is when I'll know how I feel about that because we got Saturday Night Football against them on December 30th.
Mm.
And I think that will tell me a lot about how I feel against us matching up against the Cowboys. I don't think that will stay how it is anyways, just because we have to play the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But right now, if the season were to end right now and we had to play the Cowboys, I would say we have a decent shot. I think it'd be a close. I think honestly, it'd be an offensive shootout.
I think so too.
Deron Bland terrifies me, especially when Jared Goff's at quarterback. Because as much as I love Goff, he has the tendency to make his picks count when he throws them. Uh, but I think our offensive line can handle Micah Parsons about as well as anybody could handle Micah Parsons. Um, their offense is obviously elite. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are just two outstanding players, and they also have a great rookie tight end like the Lions do in Luke Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
So
when you look at the Lions, you look at that team. I think their defensive side, their defensive front, is one of the better ones in the league. I think Aiden Hutchinson has and can affect games so drastically. And I feel like when they do play up against Dallas, when they do play more teams, like they play the Saints this week, you have the Vikings 2 more times. When you look at all these things, it's like, can your defense make stops? And can your defense put points on the board? And I think that's what controls you, because when your defense is flowing really well, your offense just clicks to perfection. Mm-hmm. And I think Dan Campbell has came in and completely changed that team, that narrative, that city around to a winning culture. And that's what he has done so well, and I hope that he can continue to do that. So my thing is with the Lions is that, I came in a year too early. Last year was a year that I was like, all right, they're going to do it. They're going to be third in the NFC, blah, 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 and they stunk it up. This year, they're 8-3, first in the NFC North, third in the NFC as a whole. And I think I've just been delayed on coming around to the Lions, because when you look at them, it's like, I want them to be good. I want them to be competitive. But when you look at the NFC as a whole, there's only 4 teams that are arguably good. The Eagles at first place at 10-1, 49ers at 8-3. I would say the Lions at 8-3 as well, and then the Dallas Cowboys at 8-3. Those are the 4 teams that the NFC will go through, regardless of who likes the idea or who thinks it's going to actually be. Those are the 4 teams who will win something, all right, or will win out of the NFC. And so, for the Lions to be up there with the big dogs now, I think it will completely come down to their attitude, their ability to stay in the game and not give away the ball, Jared Goff, and their ability to put points up on top high-level defenses like the 49ers, like the Eagles, like the Cowboys. So that's what I think needs to happen in order for these teams to be competitive.
yeah,
And so,
and
yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the biggest things is you mentioned the defense needs to make big plays, and that's something we know the defense can do. We saw it against the Bears. We had 12-point comeback in 5 minutes. A huge part of that was get a stop, which they did, go score a touchdown, which we did, go get another stop, which the defense did, and then get the game-winning touchdown through Montgomery, and then you're only up 5. You need to stop them from scoring a touchdown. And you see Aiden Hutchinson get home and strip sack Justin Fields and ultimately force a safety. So actually, we were only up 3 at the time, which means you need to prevent a field goal. And the defense did something they hadn't done all game, and that was get home.
Yeah.
So, we know the defense can make plays. It really does come down to how consistently can they do it.
Yeah, and that's the overarching thing about the entire NFL as a whole: consistency. If you can be consistent and show the same exact thing every single game, you will be competitive. You will be there will be longevity when it comes to your football season, and I really hope the Lions can actually go out and get a first round win, because they deserve it. The city deserves it. The team loves it. Coach loves it. The players deserve it, and I think they can actually do it. So what do you realistically think is achievable for the Lions, and what are you upset about if it happens?
I think realistically, an NFC Championship appearance is possible. I think what would really just be truly upsetting is if we don't win a playoff game.
Yeah.
That'd be a very rough way to end the season. And I think the only way that happens is if we have to run into a powerhouse in our first matchup, which has potential if the Cowboys stay where they are, just because all four division winners get the top four spots for some reason. No reason for the Falcons to be there, but they're 4-7, and they're the fourth seed in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. Sorry, they're not 4-7. They're 5-6. Jets are 4-7. But it's just that is what it is. If we get a tough matchup, I mean, it's going to be a home game no matter what.
Yeah.
Assuming that we, yeah, it'll be a home game. Assuming that we win the division. So, the key will be to, you know, stay strong and keep doing what we've been doing for most of this season.
I mean, but look at it. I truly think it will be the Dallas Cowboys in the first round because Dallas, they're number 2 in the NFC East, and the Eagles aren't coming off that pedestal at all. They're going to stay there. And then you guys are going to stay exactly where you are. Like, you're not going to jump the 49ers, I don't think. And I don't think Atlanta's going to jump to you guys. And so I definitely think we'll see a Lions Cowboys in the first round of playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the only team that could really potentially do it would be the Seahawks. I think if the Seahawks win tonight, I don't know for sure how that game's going. I think it's close right now. The Seahawks win tonight, I think that would change a lot. But yeah, if the because that put them at 7-5 and the Cowboys at 8-4, which makes that little race a lot closer. Or I guess the Vikings could potentially do it depending on how the rest of their season goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think there's a very good chance we run into the Cowboys again. So, you know, obviously.
Well, hear this. So the Cowboys' special schedule, they have Seattle right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Eagles. They're at Buffalo. They're at Miami.
Okay, that's gonna be rough.
Then y'all are at them, and then you have the Commanders, and then that's it. So they still have a very, very hard schedule. Like they have, you know, I think the Buffalo Bills are trying to make their name and make it back into the playoffs after competing against the Eagles. But I definitely think these 3 teams, their next 3 games are going to be, or their next 4 games are going to be some of the hardest games of their career of the season.
Yeah.
Well, they play the Rams, they play the Chargers. Suck.
I will say, you asked me after the game on December 30th, and that's when I'll really give you a definitive answer. It'll either be, yeah, I'm confident we can beat them in the playoffs, or I think that we're probably going to lose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But right now, I think that we could take care of business.
For sure.
Especially if we're getting them at home.
Absolutely. And I think you'll get them at home, and I think that game will be competitive, and I think if McCarthy loses that game, man, he's going to get fired. He's going to get fired. So I think he's looking at it now, and he's like, ooh, we're probably going to play the Lions. But any final thoughts with today's podcast?
I mean, it's the key. The real key, and this is always a tough ask, is you got to stay healthy.
Yeah. Speaking of
Lions
health,
don't have a whole ton of injuries right now, but you got to stay healthy.
Speaking of health, Hayden Hook played his first practice this week. Good for him. Future starting quarterback to the Detroit Lions. If Jared Carr Jared Carr. Derek Carr is in my mind. If Jared Goff starts stinking it up, this season or next season. Well, I don't think this season. I don't think he'll play one snap this season. But anyway, I'm excited to see what that looks like, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to the NFL, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. So, appreciate you for joining today, Lillian. If you guys have made it this far, appreciate y'all for listening. I've been your host, Davion. That's been Lillian, and this has been the Post Game. Peace.